Election fraud in Utah. It happens, but it's not common. That's what KSL investigators found after looking at nearly 12 years of statewide court records.
All right, so what does election crime really look like in Utah? KSL investigator Daniela Rivera reports.
We're charged in this case with fraudulent voter registration.
This morning, Brian Kapanis appeared in court as one of 3 people charged in Grand County accused of registering to vote using the addresses of vacant plots of land. But the charge against him was dropped in a matter of minutes, the prosecutor explaining.
Mr. Kapanis contacted me and informed me that he had intended to build a home, and in fact, he provided documentation showing that he had a general contractor and other information set up.
In this case, there was no vote cast. The charge is now dismissed. The KSL investigators learned about the case after requesting records from the Utah court system to examine every alleged violation of the state's election code prosecuted since July 2012. In the nearly 12-year time period, the data shows there have been 32 cases. Some years there were none, and this year there's been a high of 12 cases filed in 2024. Nearly half of those are connected to what the Utah Attorney General's office calls a scheme to submit fraudulent signatures in candidate nomination petitions in Utah's 2nd District.
And that's an area that we've seen a significant rise in those attempts. We do catch that. We do turn that over. We are prosecuting that.
Utah Elections Director Ryan Cowley says fraud attempts are often identified through the state's robust signature verification process.
I think catching these instances of fraud is important, and that, I think, does give us further confidence that the processes we have in place are working.
Other election code violations prosecuted in Utah include removing or damaging campaign signs and people signing a ballot that isn't theirs, which is illegal, even if you have permission or think you're doing someone a favor.
Have we ever found evidence of fraud in Utah significant enough to sway the result of an election?
No, we've never seen fraud significant enough in Utah to sway the results of an election.
University of Utah Assistant Political Science Professor Josh McCrane notes there's little to be gained by trying to game the system.
You're not going to affect the outcome of the election, and you're going to get caught, right? So in that sense, like, the risk-reward makes no sense.
That's why, he says, we don't see widespread voter fraud in America.
There's very little to zero empirical evidence that there's anything like voter fraud in U.S. elections.
Still, when it comes to whether Utah candidates will accept the results of Tuesday's Republican primary election, not everyone is in agreement.
As far as whether I'll accept the results of the election, I will say this: I will be checking the results of the election.
I assure you, I will accept the results of this election. I will accept the results of federal elections. I accepted the results of the elections 4 years ago, and nothing's changed.
Stick with us here at KSL 5 News. We'll have team coverage tomorrow as the results of the Republican primary election are released. And if there's something you want our team to investigate, call or text the number here on your screen or send me an email, Daniela@ksl.com. Mike and Deanie.